I think the figure was £7 million a day being spent on hotel accommodation. And you were then telling me that doesn't include all the council housing and local authority stock that is also being paid for, and private landlords as well. That's an extra cost.
Yeah, in the round, there's a massive, massive cost to the UK taxpayer of dealing with the number of asylum seekers in this country. The government tells us about this 7 million figure for the hotel accommodation, but yes, as I was saying, that doesn't tell us how much they're paying private landlords to put people up in rented accommodation. It doesn't tell us the cost that local authorities are facing in having to turn over their council housing stock, social housing stock from local housing associations as well, and then take in all of the wraparound services, Mark, such as education, healthcare, public protection, social services and the like. It's massive, the bill for this.
And these will be people waiting for the processing for their asylum claims to be assessed. So this can be quite a lengthy process.
That, again, is a very significant issue here. Not only are there very large numbers of asylum seekers when you take in the 140,000 who've come from Ukraine, the 80,000 from Afghanistan, add that to the 40,000 from this year, 28,000 from the year before, it all adds up to a very significant community, and only a small proportion of those have actually been dealt with, Mark. And one thing that's actually slowing the system down as well is the way in which many of the Albanians who've come across are claiming to be victims of modern slavery. And that then is, we're told by the Home Secretary, who was giving evidence to the Home Affairs Select Committee this morning, is slowing down that national referral mechanism and making it 10 times longer for someone who claims to be a victim of modern slavery to get an initial assessment and agreement on that. This is what Suella Braverman said.
The reality is that our legal framework is allowing those claims to be made and then processed. And you can really see that when it comes to modern slavery. A few years ago, it would take, on average, approximately 40 days before a decision would be made on modern slavery grounds. And now, because the system has been overwhelmed, largely by people coming here illegally on small boats, it's now taking over 400 days. So, and the law in our Modern Slavery Act obliges the state to carry out an assessment of someone's modern slavery claim.
Now, this was the Home Affairs Committee, MPs grilling the Home Secretary, and she actually admitted the government has failed to control UK borders. And, of course, there have been successive governments. In particular, Rwanda was forwarded as one answer. Senior civil servant, Permanent Secretary Matthew Rycroft, saying 140 million paid to Rwanda so far, but he's unsure whether the stalled asylum policy is value for money. That's the top civil servant assessing that.
Yeah, and they will only know whether it's value for money until, once they are actually able to start putting people down to Rwanda in significant numbers. They're not going to be able to do that, Mark, until it gets out of the courts. It's still mired in a legal challenge. We're expecting judges to come back any time now, hopefully, from the government's point of view, and rule whether the Rwanda policy is legal or not. Now, even if the court rules that it's legal, that's going to be challenged in a higher court. And it's going to be some time before the whole Rwanda issue is finally put to bed. And by that time, we could be years down the line, and God knows how many other people will have come illegally into the country by then.
And all the while, those people you spoke to in Blackpool, as far as we're aware, will still be out on the streets. Yes,
I mean, the thing to say about that, I mean, Blackpool has an acute homelessness crisis
as many seaside towns do,
800 people are assessed as being homeless in Blackpool. Now, that doesn't mean that they are rough sleepers. It's a fraction of that number who would be sleeping rough on the streets. But they have lots of complex issues. They need that wraparound service from local authorities. But when local authorities are struggling on a daily basis to provide all of those services for hundreds of asylum seekers coming into the local authority area, you can see how people fall through the cracks.